What's up, y'all? This is a quick tutorial on how to customize the dopamine template. So to start off, we'll look at drums. Now, each of these drums in the drum rack has a sampler on it. So let's just say you want to put your own 808 snares in the rack. So you click on this little you click on the square in the rack and you go over to the sample. And the easiest way to do this, I mean, you can just, replace the sampler if you already have samplers saved with your 808s. But the most surefire way to do it is to open up this little zone button and then select all, and you can erase all my 808s and then go into your library somewhere. Let's see, I don't even have anything in here. We'll just pick samples and we'll pick my splice folder. So you go into your library here, and I'll pick 808 snares, and I'll select all of them and just drag them in Now, here's the key to making the 128s, because that's what these are, is 128s. Thank you, Il Gates. Once they're all in there, if you just want a one shot like we do now, you're going to go over to this little select tab and make sure they're all selected. If they're not, you can just click in here and hit Control A or Command A, select all. You right click here, distribute ranges equally. That's going to put one on each spot. So now when we play them, you see this little, I have this mapped to the macro named sample selector here. And that is how you replace the drums. Now the next thing is something like 808s. The trick here is that it's basically the same process, except the keys might be in a different key. Now all mine are in G. All my samples are in G, so I was able to just select them all and make sure that G2 or I can't see here, G1 is selected so that they're all in the proper key. But if we want to go into some other 808s here, like let's pull this one out. It says F minor. I don't know how a one shot could be F minor, but you can click on it and then make sure that the root note is in F. We'll say F1. That way you can see I'm playing a G, and you can see on the tuner here that it's in G. So that way it's always in tune, and then you can fill up, your own. This one would be in D. So I'd do D1. Although you can't tell. And then you do the same thing where you say distribute ranges equally, and then when you turn on the sample selector. So that is another thing to do. Now, something like the shakers, where I have the shakers set up a little bit differently, where I just have a shaker basically on every key. So this is another way to do 1/28 in a sampler, but it's the keyboard mode here instead of the SEL. So for that, we could go and look for some shakers. Here's my splice shakers. Select all of those. Let's see how many I put in. 121. That's almost perfect. So anyway, yeah, with that, you'd select these, but instead of being in SEL for one shots, you're in key mode here, and then you right click distribute ranges equally, and then on each note you have a different shaker. So that is something that exists too. That's on my shakers, on my metal sounds, on electro percussion, and then also on some of the vocal chops. It's really fun to do this with vocal chops and have, different samples on all the different keys when you're just trying to find the right vocal chops. It's kind of fun. So I love having vocal shots on one of these kind of key samplers, and then I also have it on my melodic hits. Now I have all these different chords that are in different hits. The trick here is that I put all the different chords on the associated notes. So like a C, this is a C minor 6 and it's on C. Or the C sharp minor 7 is on C sharp, C sharp. That way when, if you don't have much music theory and you're just playing a D and a G back and forth, you could take that pattern and just copy it over to the bass and then have an idea of like what key you're in. You don't have to figure it out. But sometimes, I do have like my own melodic samples that I've gotten in Splice. In my music shots folder, melodic hits. So I would take all those, drag them in, and then do the key again. And it's just kind of fun, even if they're not in the right key, because you just come up with really cool things that you never would have come up with anyway. I hope I messed up the video, and so that's it. Then I've got things like pads that are also just one shots, but they're in key as well. I've got LFO that you can kind of change. You can change like the type. Some of the melodic instruments have LFO on them, like the. And if you change this little in the modulation tab on the sampler, if you change the type of LFO shape, then it'll change kind of how it attacks. Like, so that's something to know. That's on a lot of tracks, like long leads have an LFO. And so like something like this triangle, I have the offset at 180, and the offset will change like when it starts. So this way it's coming up first, whereas like at 180, it's going down first. So it doesn't sound very good on this one. I would probably do 0. And you can change the beat. So that's another way you can customize, is just by changing the LFOs on the samplers. That pretty much covers how to change the 808s. The next thing, if you might want to customize, is putting in your own plugins. So something like Plux, I would still keep it in the instrument bus, but just hit Shift Command T, and that'll create a MIDI. That'll create a MIDI track, and then I would bring in something like, wherever you got your good Plux. Like I would probably bring in Silent. Forget the company. Linear Digital. There we go. And I have banks already that I've already put together, where I have like 128 different Plux, because I'm organized. That's a little low. So take a MIDI effect, put pitch it up like at least 12. And then you would just save the actually, I take that back. A better way to do it might be to just take my sampler out and put Silent in there, because then you have all the effects and everything that I've already set up. I mean, you're welcome to do your own racks and everything and own effects. The more customized it is to you, the better. But basically, just add, if you do it this way, then you have a couple different effects that I put on there, like a wide noise and the flanger. Gives it a little grit. But yeah, basically just adding your own instruments into the instrument bus, adding your own bass, Serum or Massive or whatever into the bass bus. It's nice if you leave it in the bus, because I got the side chain, everything side chained, a few bus effects. Obviously, you can do your own bus effects as well. So that's kind of the next thing, is bus effects. So on the drum bus, I just have a high pass and a low pass. I have a limiter, and I have some saturation, and then the drum bus, the Ableton drum bus. So you can change it out for different. You can change it out for the different presets that they have in Ableton, or you could take something comparable, like Knock by Decap, which is great. And then, and then you can use that on all your beats. But basically, having a nice drum bus really changed the game for me. I usually do like a full parallel. Then I have some kind of saturation, and then I have some kind of air. I like to have some kind of air effect, or something for the high end, like distortion. Knock is nice because it has air. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have something for the high end. You could do a little bit of Ableton has some overdrive. Overdrive wouldn't be a bad idea, although you don't want to overdo the overdrive. The bass bus has like a side chain, some more bus effects, also with the drum bus, but just a subtle drive some more saturation, and again, a limiter. And then the instrument bus, I really just have a little bit of compression and some side chain. I thought about putting a limiter, but I'm not sure where I would set it, because once I limited these, everything sounds good. You kind of just mix the instrument bus to taste. One of the last, and the last thing that you would want to customize is the sends. So I just have a 16th note delay, an 8th note delay, a plate reverb, kind of a long tail, a room reverb. I have this gnarly delay effect just to kind of make things sound cool. It's like this. And then a chorus. But you could, do other things like a New York parallel compression, or some overdrive or something. You could do other things to put in the effects sends. And then the final thing is the master channel. I just have a limiter here, so when you're having fun and making beats, you're not gonna blow out your speakers. But then when you're ready to master your track, all you got to do is just turn on this master. This is just a stock Ableton mastering chain that you can do to taste. And, you could put in, if you have ozone or other kinds of, if you have other limiters like a Fab Filter L2 or something, or some Waves limiters, you could put those on the master bus. So that is it. That's basically how to customize the dopamine template for your own creative needs. I put as much as I could into it, but everybody's got their own plugins and their own cool things, and it's nice. Plugins work a little bit better than the Ableton samplers. That is it. I'm going to be doing another tutorial about kind of some free things that will help as well. I don't think I guess I could cover that now. Now I'll do that in a separate tutorial. So anyway, peace out, y'all. Have fun. Later.